Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV back with another video, and in this video we're going to be reviewing the 2004 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics character of Spider-Man. We have Spider-Man 2. This is obviously the sequel in the Sam Raimi's franchise of Spider-Man movies. I'm not going to be able to get this video recording done right now, but I'm going to try to get as many clips done and get as far through it as we possibly can. I know it has been a while, trust me, I'm just as anxious as you guys are, but here we are with Spider-Man 2, a very hyped up sequel that has to live up to one of the greatest starts to at least a comic book film franchise that I've ever seen. Obviously, most of the characters from the first film make a return here. Spoiler alert, even William Dafoe, and as his son's Vision, shows up towards the end, so he even makes an appearance in the film. As with all the Spider-Man films, with Maguire's portrayal, Sam Raimi is spearheading the operation. Of course, he directed all three of these movies, just kind of putting that out there. In this film, we add a new villain to the film, and probably one of the more iconic villains, not just in this franchise because there's only so many of them, but in the entire world of Spider-Man, in that entire corner of the universe. Love how he looks in this film, and shout out to Alfred Molina for playing the evil scientist turned hero towards the end so well. Will this movie live up to its ancestor? There's only one way to find out. Let's get into it. So getting into the premise, just kind of summing up what this movie is about. When a failed nuclear fusion experiment results in an explosion that kills his wife, Dr. Otto Octavius, who again is played by Alfred Molina, is transformed into Dr. Octopus, a cyborg with deadly metal tentacles. It's actually crazy because Jameson at the Daily Bugle gave him the name, and it's sort of ironic because he was trying to get a name to stick in the first movie for Spider-Man, but his coworkers outdid him, and that was kind of funny to kind of see that come full circle. I love the Daily Bugle storyline for as subtle as it is in this franchise as well, so that's awesome. Now he gets his own shine here, kind of, which is funny. Something cool I just wanted to mention, I know that's not very prevalent to the plot. Doc Ock blames Spider-Man, obviously played by Tobey Maguire, aka Peter Parker, for the accident and seeks revenge. Meanwhile, Spidey's alter ego, Peter Parker, faces fading powers and self-doubt, which is a really dope storyline. We will kind of dive deep into that more as we get through the video. Complicating matters are his best friends, played by James Franco's hatred for Spider-Man, and his true love, played by Kirsten Dunst, her sudden engagement to another man. How will he balance these struggles? You'll have to watch for yourself, as I will try not to spoil it for you. Obviously, this could be a spoiler review. I'm not guaranteeing that it's not going to be a spoiler review, but we're going to go somewhat in depth, so let's get it. So starting off with the good, I might not have as much to say about the good in this film as I did the first one, but pretty damn close. I mean, as a sequel, this film crushes it. Too many times we see sequels just plummet a franchise to the ground and kind of ruin its potential, but not only does this movie warrant a trilogy, it is one of the better sequels to a comic book film that I have ever seen, and just as a trilogy, this is so complete, and you're going to get that through my reviews throughout. Now, I probably won't have as much to say about this one that I did the first one. The original really laid the groundwork and set this movie up for basically inevitable success, and this film took those storylines, ran with them, and made them absolutely incredible. Really awesome film here. This movie hasn't aged a bit either. The special effects and the costume designs look cool even to this day, over 2 decades later when I am watching this. It'll probably be like 21 years very soon here. This movie may not be as nostalgic as the first one either, but there are still some iconic and memorable moments in this one. Again, a very nice movie to look at. The color palette, the action sequences, which are honestly way better in this film than in the first one, even though they are not that frequent. It just looks awesome. Takes you back to that era, again, just kind of a little time capsule back into the 2000s of films where you have dope slow-mos, a lot of like computer effects to make it look video game-esque. It's super awesome. I mean, obviously, like the train sequence, one of the best action sequences in superhero history. It's incredible. They even include a horror scene in this movie. This thing goes above and beyond, and again, props go out to Sam Raimi for making a fantastic film here. I've never seen a more effective, goreless movie than this one, at kind of just making you feel that and feel the energy, and it's so intense. It's awesome. All of the scenes I'm about to name throughout the review are so well shot. I mean, the cinematography here is awesome. More than ever in this movie, too. You really feel the emotions. This is one of the more emotional comic book films I've ever seen, and obviously we touched base on that with the original, but this one, it's fucking up there. The sadness and disappointment you get from things like Aunt May struggling without Uncle Ben, Peter Parker coming to the reality that him and MJ just won't work as long as he's Spider-Man, and then you get to the triumph of New York being saved and Peter and MJ seeming to find a way in their relationship. It's such a roller coaster of a movie, and I think that's how comic book films should be, even though they aren't always that way. You know, a lot of the times comic book films really focus on like boom, action in your fucking face, being a macho man, being masculine as hell, but vulnerability is awesome. and we get that here. You feel the misfortune of Peter Parker and his family, and it is a lot more believable here given there are other factors than it was in the first film, with a whole poor and unfortunate kind of standpoint and storyline and plot line. In that aspect, they make it a lot more believable here. The whole thing with Harry and how Harry hates him for being Spider-Man, but must like him for Peter Parker at the same time, that's a complex relationship that I love. This movie really excels with character relationships and how they build off each other, and that's what moved this franchise forward for 3 movies. That is something I feel like all 3 of the movies do better than a lot of other comic book films. Again, the ending builds up for some great potential in the 3rd film, another awesome storyline coming our way. The average Joe angle where he's not a superhero, when he's not a superhero, is always awesome, and it builds some relatability with him having a job and constantly being late with rent, being a college kid, all these different things. That's obviously something I can relate to a lot more now than I could as a kid, so that's always appreciated. I love how he lives a normal life and then bam, a crime happens near him and his spidey sense goes off and he must drop what he's doing to save the day. That's an awesome dynamic, and that's an awesome element of this movie. I also love how he saves people even as Peter Parker. It's awesome. It really hammers home that he is just like everyone else in a sense, and that is something you can get behind and champion and root for throughout this film. I can just go on and on. I mean, so many great thematical standpoints, such a powerful movie. It really leaves a lasting impact on you. Symbolism is at an all-time high for a comic book film, and man, the movie uses the 2-hour runtime so well to just drop all this on you and have all these elements in this film. The movie really shows the reality of being a regular guy turned superhero. It's a very personal film. It feels more like a Peter Parker than a Spider-Man film, and I love that they did that. It really is more of a Peter Parker film. The scene with the visions of his uncle too, that was amazing. You know, more emotion just kind of adding to that. I'm kind of listing off random things with no orientation here, but I'm just giving you the things I liked about this movie. Again, his strained love for Mary makes this a great film as well. You know, the reveal as well with Harry and Peter's Spider-Man, that's an incredible scene. I feel like maybe they could have dramatized or made it a larger scale, but still a really awesome scene. So many incredible scenes from the movie. And I also love the attention they showed towards Aunt May's character as well, just really giving her some say in this movie. You know, she seems like a very minor background character, but they do a great job of really elevating her here. The movie proves that she is the best this movie proves that she is the best portrayal of Aunt May as well. The scene where he discusses his uncle's death and says how he almost let that happen again, just so powerful, and it almost gives you an adrenaline burst when she tells him after all this stuff, everyone needs Spider-Man, and the kid is there. That motivates him to get back into the swing of things. Get it? That looks kind of gay, but... Ha! Gay! I just love how much that family aspect plays into the film. So enough about Aunt May, let's move on here. I mean, geez, maybe this video will be long. Doc Ock is probably my favorite villain from this entire franchise. The others are great, but wow, the octopus arms, the sunglasses, the complexity of his character, it's so awesome. I love Doc Ock. He wants to do something good for humanity, but his experiment goes wrong, and he basically resorts to pure menace while never forgetting where his intentions were towards the end of the film. Same sort of dynamics with his character that you kind of see with Green Goblin and like his connection with Peter Parker and Spider-Man, but he's less cringy, so that's why he takes the cake. There's not really that many cringy moments in this film with Doc Ock, so I fully praise him for that. The effects as well, both practical and CGI, are awesome, and again, Alfred Molina, I haven't seen him in many other movies, but in this film, he's fucking awesome, so I'm giving him his credit. Just talking about the effects though, they're almost video game-like in this movie, and that's such a cool swag that this movie sort of has that you don't get too much anymore with superhero films. You know, effects are way too realistic now. It looks so awesome in this movie. I really like how they made him sort of lose his powers as well to really give his character some struggle. Again, I'm being so random here. I think that adds some much needed vulnerability in a genre that simply doesn't have much of it. It kind of sticks with you and also motivates you to overcome things in your everyday life. Again, it's a very powerful movie. It sticks with you. That's all I have for the good. Well, I am back and we're here to talk about the bad. We're going to get into the okay, and then we are going to give it a rating. So getting into the bad, we have the "We Did It" shirt on. If you know, you know. There's nothing inherently bad about this movie. Everything that I feel like was bad in the first film was kind of elevated with this one. Like, I think they definitely eliminated some of the bad things from the first film, which is a huge plus, something you can positively say about this movie. Now, does that mean this movie is better? No, but man, this thing is damn near perfect as well. It's up there. I will say it was sort of annoying how bad of a friend Peter was to MJ in this film, and maybe that has a purpose, but it got pretty ridiculous throughout the film at times. That is one thing I got frustrated with. Now, I know it has a purpose, so it's not not necessarily a bad thing in the film, but just the fact that, I don't know, it was almost laughable how unlucky he was, and oh, I just couldn't make it even though I'm in fucking love with you. Like, bro, you gotta give up being a hero for a day. You gotta sacrifice some things to be with Mary Jane, and he just never did that. And it was a super annoying element of the movie. Oh, I've crashed my scooter. I can't be with you. I have to fight crime. It's like, are you serious, dude? I don't know. It was just kind of a flaw in the storytelling and the flaw in the writing. It is what it is. It's not a huge deal because obviously it resolved itself in the end. I'm telling you, that's literally all I had for the bad. Getting into the okay, there were a few things that I was mixed on. There were a few yet minor weird plot conveniences and plot inconsistencies, and again, just bad writing, and not bad writing necessarily, like questionable writing at some points in this film. I definitely noticed that, mostly with Doc Ock's character. Even though I love him as a villain, he was an amazing villain, damn near flawless. There were obviously a couple of things you could say. I'm not going to get too specific because this may be a long video anyway if I do that, but they're there, so not everything about this film is necessarily good. I don't know, there's a few things differently that could have been done with his character. It doesn't mean he's a bad villain. I still think he's better than Green Goblin. And also something specific I do want to get into is I'm not sure how Harry didn't find out his dad was Green Goblin either. That didn't make too much sense with me. Again, just some inconsistencies, just some logical errors kind of with this film, so I'm going to leave it at that. Actually, this video probably won't be that long. Let's just get into the review, pull up the tier list. It is time. I have a couple of minutes left to spare here, so I'm going to finish recording the video. It should be like a 13-minute video or something like that. It'll be a little shorter than the first one. I know that's not even long for a movie review anyway, because you have guys talking about movies for half an hour at a time, but not as good as the original. I mean, not a lot of superhero films can compete against that anyways. Still an amazing movie. As we get through this series, I do remember there being controversial moves that Raimi goes for that would warrant slightly more negative reviews, but this movie is not that far off from the original, and some people even argue it is better. I think a lot of people think it's better, but I think just for the sake of an original, I'm aware of kind of the questionable things that Raimi does with the films, but this movie still stacks up well, and it's a great and much needed chapter to the story of Spider-Man. It tells a great story. It has amazing, interesting storylines. Yeah, I said it in my last review, but the way he goes through the struggles in this movie is great, and it makes for a slightly more high-stakes film, which is what you need as you navigate through an action franchise. And you see franchises like John Wick and how in each movie the stakes kind of rise, and I think that's great. I think that's something they kind of do here with the Spider-Man franchise as well, and even it might even have influenced John Wick, obviously, because this came before. But I'm going to go ahead and give this an 8.7 out of 10. I think this film is amazing. I wouldn't say it's as exceptional as the first one. It is very, very close. It's only 0.3 points off on the scale. So there you have it. That is going to do it for the video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'm not sure when you guys are going to be getting this video. I'm just now able on a Tuesday to get to record this. I have to go to class here in about 5 to 10 minutes, so I'm probably going to head on out of here and get prepared for that. Hopefully you guys have a good rest of your day. I'll put these clips together, get it going on CapCut, probably work on it a little later tonight. You honestly might get the video tonight. I don't know. It just kind of depends, whatever time permits. So peace out, boys.